Good morning, everybody. Give me one sec. Hit the little button, give you the little loop, get some tunes. And 2 minutes. Sorry, guys. You heard me there. Apologies. Thank you. Hey guys, sorry about that. Sorry if you heard me use potty mouth. Hold on 1 second. We're not bonding. After all that, we're not bonding. There's the bonding. All right. I got to change this whole setup, man. This whole setup's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Get some coffee. It's every day. I think it's like every single day I have to reboot the damn camera, and I have to reboot the mic. Like, it catches everything wrong. It's so frustrating. I don't know. Maybe it's just Windows or something, or maybe it's me. This AAOI is just going absolutely insane. All those names are light, etc. But these names are just, they're going to be on fire today with NVIDIA investing. But I'm wondering, it's starting to seem pretty darn extreme, but we'll see. So you start getting moves that are $10 on 10% in 2 minutes. I mean, it's good because it's a thin name, but you always want to be cognizant of that when you move that fast. Once you got through that pre-market high here, man, that was it. So, give me 1 second here. Okay. I don't think this holds personally, but I think this fades. Give me a second, guys. There's so much going on. It's insane. Let's get to the simple stuff where I can add value. There's the easiest thing I can do is this. Like I'm trying to figure out the how do you utilize the time we have the best. So here's the very first thing I'm just going to tell you. You have a put wall at 600. You're going to want to watch tonight's video for sure too, because I'm going to get into this and what tends to happen in these situations. That is a massive area. And we should be holding it. And we're already getting some of this higher high and then fading. You're going to want to watch this like a hawk today and make sure that's not screw up Prometheus. You're going to want to watch this like a hawk today. And you're going to want to make sure that you get through that. I'm going to recreate this whole thing so you can see exactly where these levels are and why. And I would really tell you to focus on what names you're really interested in today. And with earnings coming out, you're getting things that you want to be in at a huge discount. So, you know, there is some benefit to this from a trading. All right. AES, Berkshire, Elements Health, Pinterest. Yeah, that's so interesting to me. Give me a second. And so I'll tell you what's interesting in a minute. If you take a look at how you're acting, when you break this level, you tend to go back to it, right? So I think you're going to get back to 605. So what does that mean? I think you have the opportunity to do some kind of quick bounce here. And I do think that you will. I do think that will happen. I don't know if it holds. And I'll tell you why. I think that this is going to be more protracted than people think it is. And I really do. I think that it's going to be way more like that. So that's kind of where my head is with that. Oh, there's Larry. He hasn't been, Larry went away for the weekend. It was kind of weird. Now he's back. So we'll have to take a look at this, but I think this is super interesting how this is playing out. But I think you get back to that 605 level. I think that's definitely a possibility. And we're getting here by dropping this here. And then I really think it makes sense to take a moment and kind of see how far back we're going. So if we went to here, you're rejecting that low, right? So we're already rejecting that November low. So we're going to click off of that. Come on, man. I'm in no mood for me today. Can you just work? All right. And so then I'm going to go to this one. No. So you're not above any of this stuff. So you're trying to figure out, like, you're still above this. And I know that. Now, do you get back to 575 and test it? I don't know. I don't know that that's what's going to happen here, but it could. I don't think it's going to be in a day. But yeah, it could. You could get hit here. And I think if, the 581, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think what we're really starting to see is that no matter what's happening, they're buying the market. So even if you look at what they're doing in Asia, they're still buying the market. I don't really think you want to go against that. So most of these undercuts have bounced. Does it last and not roll back over? I don't know. I think it's got a shot of it, but I think you're going to have a lot of rebalancing out there today. And that's really how I say it. So I think you have a shot to bounce 1%. The question is, what do you do after that? And I don't know that I don't know the answer is just going to be, oh, we're just going to go straight up. I truly actually don't believe that is the answer. So that's really where my head is. I don't really think that that's where this is going. I think it's going in a different direction. So, what does that mean? If you take a look at the SPY, what is that going to get us? And, you're that 675 put wall, you came down to it, you didn't undercut. So you're really at that level again, but where does that take you before you gap fill? Well, it takes you back to here. Like, it's kind of like, okay, like who cares? Like, it's not a lot to really care about. Right. So let me just see something here. Yep. So if I even go here and just get rid of that for a sec and said, all right, so you're going to take me up to here to 88, maybe you could get back up there, but I don't even see that. I think you're really looking at trying to get up to like 81, then the 85, and then kind of go from there. All the economic data that's coming out today is probably going to be non-existent. Like, it's not really going to matter. So you have to think, like, what's the catalyst? The only catalyst I really see is all the news is just going to suck. That's kind of really where my head is with it. Like, no matter what the news is just going to be awful. So if we go and take a look at this and do it through the NQ again, work with me, not against me. I am in no mood. And we look at how this is playing out, right? So you're hitting the same levels, and I'd really watch these levels like very, very closely and make sure that you're holding. You've got a lot of CTAs around here that are looking to sell. I believe you're through one of those levels already today. Let me go and check that right now. Hold on. I'll do that. Breaking news. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to take a look. But I believe that you are. So if I go into here, yeah, you've already broken it. So you want to watch 24/6 like a hawk. You really want to watch 24/6, and you really don't want to be below it. And you've been below it, and you seem to be bouncing off of that. So take a look at this really quickly for a second. So you really don't want to be below this number right here. Like, that's not great. I've seen great before. That's not what it looks like. So we definitely don't want that. And we definitely don't want this, but you really don't want to get below that level. Now you gap to that early in the morning. I had a great trade last night when the market opened. It was so obvious. Totes obs, as the kids say. Kids still say that, right? Totes obs. So, but like right in here, it was just like, this was so obvious. Such an easy trade. I mean, like, hello. I thought you had a shot, but you didn't. But question is, what now? I still think you have a shot here at getting back and gap filling. I just think that you have to realize, I'm not going to draw the stool for time's sake, but you have to realize you have a ton of headline risk here, man. Iran's not like just attacking US. Iran's attacking UAE, Dubai. Like, it's kind of crazy. I don't really understand the strategy. It kind of reminds me a little bit of okay. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of how can I say this? When you have when someone's so cornered that they just don't care, they're just lashing out at everybody. That's kind of what it reminds me of. And we'll go from there. But I really think that that's how you should view it. Give me a second here, because I see a problem or a blessing, a problem. And then we'll do the ES. You're going to want to watch 67.72 today here. It's so interesting because I purposely didn't do, you see that level right there? Look at it. Look at it. You want to watch that like a hawk. And so what we want to do here, and why I think this is important. Hold on, let me get to it. Give me 1 second here. There's a lot going on, guys. Just gotta bear with me. It's not enough, but you say you hit the higher high here and you're hitting there, you do have a divergence. The question is, does Asia buy our markets? And I'm not so sure. I actually think you're going to get a re-risking of certain assets, and I think they're going to blow out of certain things. Give me 1 second here, guys. Thank you. Two. All right, cool. See, the issue that I see is I'm watching all this stuff. I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this, but let's get to it. Let's get to it this way. So if I look at the ES, I see what's happening there, but I want to clean all this off. It's just a better way to do all this. And then we'll get to this. But if I am to look at here and then here, you can see my channel, right? Okay, cool. And then you have your level here, but we hit a new high. So this moves for me. It might not move for you, but it moves for me, right? You should do what you're comfortable with. And we can see this level down here. And if you ever want to, all you have to do is just overlay that one as well, right? And then it'll just kind of tell you where you're at. Like, it's not really, rocket science, right? So if you're looking at this from our perspective, and you're seeing this area here, and you're watching us hit this area again and again, and your 4 hour on the RSI looks like this, like, should you be selling, or, is this really where you sell? And so then what you look at is go, all right, well, let's just walk through this, right? Like, how did that go for people that wicked down and sold at oversold? Did that go well for them at that level? And so you kind of walk through it and go, well, if we're wicking down through that and the RSI is negative and we're at that level, how did that go? Now you have divergences here too that you can see, right? And it's not just that level, but it's the wicking through it as well. So the way that I see it, and you should do what you're comfortable with, but if you're not having like a net long bias into here, like of the names that you really want to buy, like, what are you doing? So, it's definitely an issue. And it's definitely one that I think that you really want to pay attention to, because I think there's something to it. So, and I know I'm a little scattered today, but I have a lot going on. So there's a lot going on here. See, I'm afraid of headline risk on things like this. You know, do you get a ship attacked, and is it like some kind of like? There's so many things that could change here so fast, right? You know, everyone's blowing this thing off that happened in Austin like it's nothing. And, you know, if you have more of those kinds of issues, this escalates like fast and domestically. So I think you have to have your head on a swivel here. And I would watch these levels that I have marked off here like a hawk. But I think you have to almost have a buy the dip bias for names that are not affected by this, if that makes sense. So, and I think that tech is not overly affected by this. I think that you have countries that are going to be affected by this because oil prices are going to go up, and that's going to be cut into profits, et cetera, et cetera. But I would keep that in mind. So from a Q perspective and looking at it from that way, I don't really see, you know, that I have to rush out. And I really think that you want to watch that, like, again, like a hawk. So I really wouldn't sleep on it. And if you're looking at this and saying, I want to short, you already missed it. Like that. I mean, I don't really know how else to say it. So, you know, let's focus on that for a moment here, and I'll run through names, but I'm going to have to make this super, super freaking quick because I got a lot going on. I got my head cut off today too. Look at this. I mean, you can't figure this out. I should just bring somebody in to do all this crap. I'm like the guy that won't ask for directions. What do you got? I'm going to be super quick today, John. I apologize. So the question is, do you want to buy oil right now? What do you know that everybody else doesn't know? Right? What do you know that everybody else doesn't know about oil? Right? Nothing. Like literally nothing. So there's no edge in buying oil, in my opinion. Like there's no edge in that trade. I'm more the school of thought of like link the oil to something. Right? So you'll be like, oh, what do you mean? So you have tankers. Like we own this one. And, you know, we killed it with it. But like last night, I'm a net seller of it because I know what everybody else knows. But if you think that this is going to continue, right, then what do? Like if you think this is going to continue, you're going to buy the dip in these. So I would look at FRO because FRO is holding the best of all of them, right? It is on the vol basis. TNK, ST, these are all going to go up. But if you're lashing out, like I was thinking about this, if you're Iran and you're already lashing out at your neighbors like Dubai, UAE, Saudi Arabia, which is insanity, because you want them to have your back, you know, and it's hard to have your back when you're bombing the international airport of Dubai. So I think you have to think about it and go, all right, so that's them being completely a cornered, like, you know, don't go after a cornered rat, they say, or whatever animal you corner, right? You don't want to go after it because it's got nothing to lose. It's going to tear you apart, come at you with everything. So what would be their next big move? They try to shut down the strait, right? They block the strait. They shut down the strait. And if they start that game, ships aren't going to go through that. And that's a lot of land. Like people are like, oh, well, the US Navy. I'm like if you ever looked at that strait on a map, like it's not something you're just going to like, oh, we're just going to put a ship right here. It's like, it's a lot. So it's very tough. And all of a sudden you're going to have a much bigger corridor there to play with. So I think you have to look at the tankers if you think this goes longer, right? Versus just oil. Like the people that I know that bought oil, they were net sellers yesterday. And it made sense. That makes sense to me. SO, I bought a long time ago. We actually bought this in the community on December. I'm going to pull up the notes. December 16th at 85. This was like so obvious. Totes obs, as the kids say. They say that, right? So I'll show you. So here you are, and you see like your little level in here. You see how you just think you broke, and you can just see this level down here. Like it just keeps going. Hold on, I'll just drop the pin. You can just see it test. Anytime you get like a fast test like that, man, and you spat, it's like, oh, that's hot. Yeah, that's real hot. Oh, okay. You watch the extreme ones. If it's like a milk toast, like, you know, when someone shakes your hand and it's like all soft and like sweaty like that, you know, like, ugh. So like, so in here, you really just want to watch. And it got so low. I think it was like, it was like the high teens. And I always look at stuff like this and go, all right, well, not now, Larry. So if I look at that and go, all right, well, here I am on a 17 on a 4-hour RSI. Like, how many times have I been there in 5 years? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Well, how many times was it the right move to buy there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So 6 out of 6 times in 5 years, I should have bought there if I had patience. Okay. So maybe this will work. And then it was such a tight stop. It just made sense because we were just buying it in here with the premise that I'm going to lose $1 or I'm going to go back to the highs and I'm going to make 10 to 12. You follow me? So like we're 10 to 1 on that trade and we did nothing with it. Do you want to buy them now? I don't know. Because coal is going to get more expensive. Natural gas is going to get more expensive. Don't their gross margins come in more now? Isn't it more like flight to safety people that are going to buy more than the operational people? You know what I mean? Like the flight to safety people are going to come in. The people are going to go, oh, I got to buy the XLP names today. Like, okay, thanks for the original thought, bro. So it's like the people say, well, buy bonds. Like, for what purpose? Like you missed it. Like you completely missed it. You actually have to be on the other side of the bond trade now because of inflation. Like there's no way inflation doesn't go up on this. So then you look at it and go, all right, so do you really want to be buying what everybody else is buying right now? I think you want to go through your research and say, like, what were the big trades that I really wanted to get into that I missed? So like for me, it's looking at stuff like EWY, which people say I'm obsessed with, and rightfully so. I got into it on Saturday. I see the divergence. I see you, but I'm not so sure that that's going to last yet. But, I'm watching this thing and, this isn't changing. AI is not going to change because of this. Unless you get a full protracted ground war and it spreads into Dubai and, like a legit ground war like that, then it's all bets are off. But when you look at something like this, yeah, to me, it's, well, what names do I really want to buy? Well, I'd love to buy this if it got back to the 12, like I'd be doing cartwheels. That'd be the cat's pajamas. So, I'm looking at stuff like that. I think that's the better strategy, So Sats, everybody got giddy because it popped because he's going to go sooner than later. I just don't think that people get this trade, and that's fine. I don't think that you really want to, like for me, it's, do I want to own SpaceX? Yes. So I will own this because I can't own SpaceX. And I don't think SpaceX is going to go down, but it could pull like a coin. Like they could mark this thing so high that, remember this, back in the day, everyone had to buy it. And it was like, this thing was just so ridiculous. Like it never got back here. Like it's crazy. And it was like the easiest short in the world and tried. And then that was it. Right. It just never made any sense to me. And I don't think it ever made any sense to anybody. Like you did it, they took you over and that was it. But, they tried, but it is what it is. So are they going to do something like that with SpaceX? Even still, the hype going into Sats will be great. I think ASTS is super fascinating here because you have earnings coming out. And, besides the cool words they're going to say on the call, like unfolding and Bluebird 6 and Bluebird 7, like who's really competing with them? Like, who's got another unfolding in space for their satellite right now? Pretty much no one's done what they've done when you really look at it. So it's really fascinating. It's actually such a cool time to like watch this stuff play out. But, you're under the 55, you have a 1255 cross from a technical standpoint. Can you really touch that? can't touch this. I think everyone and their sister is going to buy PLTR today. And my thought on this at first was to watch that level and see if I'm going to get through that level. And now my thought is, I think that this is going to be more protracted than we think it is. That's my sense of it. Give me a second. Sorry, it's my dad. What do you want? Okay. Their dog just got operated on, so they're like a mess. Anyway, so like if you think about it, because my first inclination was, I want to fade this. But if it's protracted, all the hoople heads are going to buy PLTR, right? Just like they're going to go out there and buy KTOS today, right? I don't know that that's the right move, or they're going to buy defend, right? Like, is this really the time to do that? If it's protracted, it might be. It depends. Is this going to go on for weeks, or is this him saying it's going to go on for weeks and then he's going to put a pause on it? Not for nothing, but it's literally, I mean, if anybody really wants to talk about this, guys, I'm going to have to jump. But if anybody really wants to talk about the obvious thing here, that this is roughly the same exact time as last year that we fell off a cliff, and we're coming into another thing that's going to fall off a cliff. So if you think we're living in a simulation, here you go. Here's your information. Guys, I'm going to have to jump. I'm going to cover a lot of this tonight. I apologize, but there's a lot going on here, and I gotta hop on it. It's like unfolding pretty fast. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where my head is, dude. Like, the more I talk about it, the more I'm talking myself into the fact that this is not. Yeah, JL, you have a really good point there, because you're right to call me. You're right to call me out on it. I don't know. You're going to go years, but it's definitely going to be protracted longer than we think it is. I agree with that, dude. I don't know, years. I think the drone things, I think if you're not thinking drones, any of the drone names, I think any of that stuff, ITA, the big guys, Lockheed Martin, any of this stuff, right? My business is war and war is good. So, anyone? Megadeth, anyone? All right. So I would see if they come in and then go from there, right? That's what I would see. But I don't know. I think that this might be more protracted than we think it is. So I'll cover it in detail tonight. What's up, Jacob? Monica in here? I didn't see her. Is she in there? What's going on, Trey? She's always so nice and says hi. There she is. Good morning, Mon. All right, I'm out of here. I'm outie 500, as the kids say. Make good choices.